What is going on, everyone? So today I want to talk about Marvel's The Thunderbolts. So this movie was, you know what? 8 out of 10. I enjoyed it very much. Um, Thunderbolts surprised me with a lot of stuff. So I wasn't sure how they were gonna set up. Were they just going to have it where it's like, oh hey, we're not gonna talk. We're gonna talk a little bit about some of the stuff that's been going on, which they did to a degree with a lot of characters, but it didn't have that sort of. This movie, I would say, like the amount of depth they decided to try and go on with a lot of these characters, I found to be very interesting. And really good. From Yelena's time in the Red Room and how we see that shaped her as a child and everything she went through. And then we even see our Kmart version of Captain America, Mr. Wyatt Russell, aka U.S. Agent. And how after the events of Falcon the Winter Soldier, he's been dealing with stuff, which he rightly deserves because he killed a man who gave up. And he lost. You know what? Some spoilers I'm gonna say will be talked about here. So if you don't want to spoil, go to something else. But just minor spoilers. I'm gonna try and not say too much stuff. But let's just say his home life not that good. Okay. And then of course, we have Olga, Antonia Dreykov, the woman who played her. She's in this as well. Harrison Ford gets talked about. Of course, Sebastian Stan did a fantastic job with this. We have Hannah Kamen, who played Ava Starr, who was the ghost. I believe that was her character's name. She came in, and you know what? Everyone sort of like shared what's been going on with them. What's like. The stuff they've been through and whatnot. I will say Bob doesn't have them all beat, but Bob's like Elena, where Elena and Hannah is at. John, I want to say, is just he's dead last for trauma, but I could be wrong. That's my opinion. You have your own. But yeah, this movie does touch a lot about the trauma and whatnot, and of course we have David Harper as Alexi, the Red Guardian, and I gotta say, you get Florence Pugh and David together with their characters. I mean, that's just great chemistry right there. You throw in Sebastian Stan, we get Bucky in there, and throw in everyone else, and it's good overall. It was really good. I did not think Marvel's version of the Suicide Squad, I didn't think I would enjoy it as much as I did. I guess just because the past few Marvel movies came out, that's it's been coming out. They've been okay, not that bad. But this one, the way everything was done, kind of reminded me how Phase 1 was with the Marvel movies. It just sort of gave me that feeling, of how things were back then. I guess how would I describe that? It would be more like, I guess, Iron Man. The first Iron Man movie. We see Tony going through, regret and all this stuff, and he's like, oh God, I'm gonna die here, and he has, the guy in the cave. So like, well, today's gonna be a very good week for you, then, isn't it, Tony? So, just has that sort of vibe. It's like stakes are, there's a lot of emotion with all these characters, and it was done really well. It wasn't like we see Thor, Love and Thunder, not Love and Thunder, Ragnarok. That was a good movie, and I do like it very much. I guess with Thor, he's sort of like he has his moment where he's mourning his father, then he moved on and whatnot in a way, but here it's like you have so many characters, so much trauma, so much anger, and Bob, oh my God, I mean, Marvel, they touched on dealing with the consequences of their actions, dealing with the lives they've chosen, not really seeing themselves trying to be more than just this or trying to be that, but it's like, why would you want to be that when no one really wants you to be, you know, like a hero sort of. And then, you know, Bob, I mean, damn, just damn, Bob, his life, his story. When you see it, it's like, wow, Marvel, you went there. But yeah, overall, 8 out of 10. This movie is very good. I recommend seeing it if you can. Should you see it in IMAX? So, I did see this in IMAX. Very well done. But I think this movie will be just as good in, you know, like regular, I don't know what you call it, version of the theaters. Doesn't have to be IMAX if you don't want to see it. If you want to, you know, have the finer picture, sound quality, yes, definitely it is worth it to see it in IMAX. However, if you know you just want to see it, you know, regular, not IMAX, that's fine too. I think you're gonna get just about the same good quality as you would from like an IMAX version of it. It does, if you guys haven't seen it yet, it does touch on some things, and I will say yes, we do get a reference to the Fantastic Four. And while Harrison Ford's character is not in this, he is mentioned. So the events of Captain America, the last Captain America movie, you know, that does have some impact on this. And I'll just say Julia Dreyfus, who plays Valentina. My God, this woman is just evil, and you know she's in politics. So I mean, if there was an evil woman for politics, it's her. Yeah, definitely go check out Marvel's Thunderbolts. And yes, they do touch on why they're called the Thunderbolts and that little symbol on the side of the S. That does, you see why that's there. Alright, that's all I got for you guys today. So until next time, later.